Welcome once again, Freak Daddy's House of Rock. Chilly day hanging out. We're taking a look at new tracks from classic acts. Today we're talking about Judas Priest's new one, "The Serpent and the King." This is some heavy duty rock. It's straight up
Mhm.
hardcore. Are you
Yeah,
a big fan? Have you been a Judas Priest fan for a long time?
yeah, probably since I think it was 79, maybe 1979 at Freedom Hall.
Oh, you saw them then. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, they were image wise, they were kind of, you know, moving into the leather and the image, more image conscious. It's when I saw Rob Halford the first time, he still kind of had on like the white jumpsuit with like the I don't know what they call it, the sachet or something. Yeah, it was definitely more something you would think on Liberace than
Oh, really?
Rob Halford. Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah, I couldn't find. I snuck in There were the little thin cameras back then that had like the little flash bulb on it.
Yeah,
I
yeah. The
snuck that into
110,
that
the
show,
110.
and I've got some pictures. I was probably on about the fifth or sixth row.
Oh
Was
my.
general admission. Yeah, but I've got
You still have those
some.
photos? Do you know where
I
they are?
got
You can
those
get your hands on
photos somewhere. I wish I could find them. Oh, they're horrible quality.
them. Right.
Yeah, they couldn't for some reason. Those cameras, it's like they couldn't make it through the initial thing of like the stage lights coming down.
Right.
Like those lights would really, because it wasn't as quality film, would bleed,
Yeah.
into any image behind them.
Did you
But
have the flash bulb on there? The little
yeah,
thing that was.
yeah. So, yeah. Back then, man, they were very controlling all bands. So you basically had to take a picture and put the camera in your pocket real quick, like who me? Wasn't
Yeah. I
me.
don't know where that came from. Yeah. That
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah, yeah.
That
It
had nothing
wasn't
to do with
me.
that.
Nah,
Just wanted to
but
capture your jumpsuit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
So,
yeah, they
so,
warmed
but,
up for
but,
Kiss.
okay. So they opened for Kiss, but at that time, would they have any hits? I mean, did you know about them? Or were
No,
you there to see Kiss?
no. I was there to see Kiss on
Sure.
the Dynasty tour, and it was really, they'll by their own admission, it wasn't very good, low energy.
Kiss?
So it's one of those shows. Remember we talked about with Iron Maiden, where the warm up band just comes out and just destroys the headliner.
And that's what
But
happened with Judas
yeah,
Priest. You
oh
thought that
yeah,
they
oh
killed it?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, wow.
absolutely. It was really, really just raw, just rock and roll show. And basically, they would have been. I think this had just come out. It was Unleashed in the East. That's where a lot of people kind of got exposed.
That was an early, not the first, but an early record for them because
It was.
those guys have
I think
been.
they put out like uh, maybe three studio, and then they came out with this. But what's odd, and not to contradict what I was saying earlier, that for the photo shoot, I guess he was, would have been wearing, he was image into the black leather thing. But I saw them after this, and he was back to wearing the clothes that predates this but the early priests, if you go back and look at the videos, they're really dressed more like a hippie band,
Hmm.
all of them. So yeah, it was KK Downing uh, that got them into the image conscious, and it
Hmm.
worked, because they were right in stride with the whole MTV thing. But the album that we're discussing is Invincible Shield, and as you said, the Serpent and the King's the track. So
Yeah.
cool artwork. I don't like it as much as the one that we covered earlier, uh, the Iron Maiden, but kind of really pretty much in the that same
Cool big fold
I
out,
want to
the whole
say,
thing.
like, not disparagingly, because I liked it, Dungeons and Dragons vein, the old British, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of the oh, what was it? The Infidels, and it was the Crusaders, I
Oh,
guess is what
Crusaders.
I would say, kind of like that Crusader,
Okay.
stage, of that. But that's their history. We don't have castles and knights and you know
Yeah.
Bob Evans and you know we just don't have the history. That's all I can
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
That like they do, to reference back to that. So probably makes a lot more sense to them. With the themes of that. To British people, I guess.
Mhm. So
But
how do you think? So what do you think about this new stuff compared to what I know? And I'm limited. I got to be honest. As a radio guy, it's kind of
yeah,
like Iron Maiden, right? Iron Maiden
yeah,
just doesn't get airplay, and there's only maybe 4 tracks ever of Judas Priest's entire history of recording that have ever hit
mhm,
the airwaves,
yeah.
and they don't sound like this track, right? Halford,
No,
I'm assuming. I mean, he's got a stratospheric range. I mean, he's up there just like in that Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson sort of sound.
mhm,
But that's not necessarily what you hear in the, you know, you got another thing coming. Even Breaking the Law, he's got a much lower register that he's singing there. So this is very,
yeah.
operatic rock type stuff.
Yeah, the Serpent and the King. I would say this album. If I were to true Priest fans that have been with them, I would say we're back to the British Steel early stuff, to where it was just raw, gut punching, um, sound, and I like it because they're not chasing the hit on this
Right.
album.
No, that not trying
Like
to be radio friendly at all.
no, because when they're chasing the hits, to me, you're chasing the streams or whatever it is now. They just I just like Living After Midnight is probably one of my least favorite
Right.
um, Judas Priest songs. So they did one that was just horrible, called Parental Guidance.
Hmm.
Um, and
You got
but
another thing
this,
coming? You like that? You like that sound at all? I mean, that's another one
no,
that.
no, like I said, when I like the to me, they were always like the deeper, the cut stuff, like a song called "Victim of Changes" is my favorite, and the reason, pretty much the stuff that would have been on "Unleashed in the East," because it goes beyond like the standard, uh, repeat the name, over and over and over, the same, line repeat over. These were definitely. The early stuff was like with this stuff is more entrenched, kind of like in the early Black Sabbath vein, to where they're telling a story, and it's just they're not
A little
worried about
richer.
selling. They're not worried about selling tickets
Yeah,
on
not
this
worried
one.
about being poppy. So
No, no, but
is
yeah, but
do you know is Halford the lyricist?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know if anybody else helps on that. um, of course, they've had their lineup changes. Rob Halford was out for a little while,
Hmm.
and then
How many
they've
records
had.
did they release without Halford?
I think they only released maybe one or two, and it
Okay.
didn't it didn't do that well. It's kind of harder to replace the singer. Um,
Yeah,
I
especially
can't think
somebody
of
who's
very many times
iconic
it's
like
happened.
Halford.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sadly, KK. I mean, Glenn. Lord, losing my mind. Glenn, no, KK Downing got it right. He's not in the band anymore, and he was the founder.
Hmm.
But he has his own thing now called KK's Priest, which is really good, and they tour separately. So uh, we're down to the original bass player, Ian Hill. Glenn Tipton, I think he has Parkinson's, but he plays on the album. Doesn't tour consistently with them, and Rob Halford. So uh, pretty much just the only one that we're missing would be KK Downey. But
Well, this is
you
a
know,
blistering track. It comes out hard and just doesn't stop. It's like I say, it was for me not being familiar with the catalog, not really having a lot of exposure to Judas Priest other than the radio hits. I
mhm.
thought it sounded like a departure, but you're saying it's coming back around to if you really are a Priest fan, you're going to appreciate this stuff because it's going back to what it used to be
Yeah,
before they were concerned about getting radio airplay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely back to, I would say, late '70s, stuff when they hit,
Yeah.
and just the rawness of it, and the riff, um, as I was kind of talking about the uh, it's just more genuine. I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're back
Hmm.
to just songwriting. I would say in their vein, and but yeah, they've been around a long time, man.
Yeah.
They're from the same area as Sabbath, Birmingham, and
Oh yeah.
so
So
that
they
so
were in the same neighborhood, so to speak.
yep, same area. They would have just
Hmm.
been off maybe, I guess, 5 years, career wise or whatever. So those guys would have all been kind of in the same age group, same experiences. They say that a lot of that stuff from Priest and Black Sabbath, literally, some of the beats were inspired literally by the factory noises that they would hear, like of the crushing of the equipment,
Right.
which I
Right.
thought was fascinating. Of the kaboom, kaboom, of the
Right.
factory, and you can't escape the fact of your environment, and what's going to come out,
It's
that
wild.
amplifier when you play.
Yeah,
But
because we talked in a prior episode about all of the blues stuff that was happening in the '60s and what was coming from the U.S. straight over to Britain for that influence. Where does this come from? I mean, this heavy, fast
mhm,
guitar, this what
yeah,
we would consider heavy metal, what we would consider somewhere in that genre, which we know where all of the other stuff after it was inspired by this type of pioneering sound, but where did they get the idea to start playing that way? I mean, didn't it exist? Nothing existed like that prior, did it?
no, 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 and it's odd that they originally were calling like Led Zeppelin heavy metal
Yeah,
too,
right. That's not
and
that's
it's just like,
not the
what,
same.
what,
That's
and
bluesy rootsy stuff. It's
no,
not
no. I
Judas
think
Priest
I
by
think
any means.
distortion, anything back then that
Right.
had distortion on guitar,
Well, what
you
was it?
know.
What was it? You remember Jethro Tull won like the award? I don't know if it's a Grammy. I don't know what it was. Some
Yeah, for
award for it.
heavy metal album of the
Yeah,
year
and beat
for
Metallica. Beat
yeah,
Metallica in the
beat
category.
Metallica. Yeah. Yeah, it
Jethro
was
Tull.
Crest of a Knave, I think was the album, which is really good, but it wasn't
Oh, it's
yeah.
hilarious. Well, they
Yeah.
sound they got a name like Jethro Tull. They've got to be a heavy metal act. Who cares what it sounds like? We're never going to listen to it. We're just going to trust that Jethro Tull. That's a heavy metal act.
Yeah, that's when corporate gets in there. Yeah. But yeah,
Funny.
Lars Ulrich, he said the next year Metallica did win heavy metal band of the year, and he had the greatest spin on it. He said, "I'd just like to thank Jethro Tull for not putting out an album this year so we could win."
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
great.
back to I consider this a great Priest album. Um, like I said, I hate it that KK Downing's not in the band, but I've read KK's book, and I've read recently, and uh, Rob Halford's book about dealing with his sexuality. All
Hmm.
those years. That's unfortunate that he had to.
It kept a secret, right? I mean, for
Yeah,
a
keep it
long time.
secret. Yeah, yeah, for image, and of the band. But he said that inspired a lot of, the darkness and the sadness, of his lyrics. So really that kind
Mm.
of brought out, and
Inspired his art.
yeah, absolutely. And I found out this was kind of a weird way to find out about his sexuality, which I could don't care,
Right. Sure.
me. I
Doesn't
don't care
doesn't
what you are. But anyway, I was living
doesn't
in
matter.
Hollywood, and I was living on Argyle Avenue, which was one of the biggest crack dealing streets in the '80s and out there in California. But anyway, I was living in a building with a bunch of musicians, people trying to make it out there like me. And there was a girl that was a stripper from British Columbia that was living there, and she was talking about all these artists and stuff, and they would go see the bands would request them to come, and do shows and things like that.
Mm.
And she was the one
Private shows
that,
for the bands.
yeah, private shows for the band. TMI. I didn't want to ask any questions because I just didn't want to go there. But yeah,
Oh, I'd have asked a ton
she
of
was the
questions.
one that
Good
told
Lord.
me. She was the one that told me that about Rob Halford, and nobody
Really?
else really knew. Yeah, I mean, this was before he had come out, and she was like, yeah, he's a gay man. I'm like, no, I had no idea.
Well,
So
he was
so
not impressed with her, is what she
no,
was saying.
no. So yeah, that's I mean, but they just kept it under wraps.
Wow.
That's just for sadly the image, you know conscious, you know environment, um, of the music industry,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, both books are really, really, really great.
Hmm.
Rob Halford's a great storyteller, and it's great to hear those guys, beat their demons. That drove him into substance
Yeah.
abuse.
Yeah.
Having to hide that, and being
And he's
able
like
to,
40 years sober now.
yeah, being able to
It's
come
amazing.
out, yeah, actually gave him the freedom, and to just be who he is. But
Yeah.
I don't know what will be in store for Priest after this one. I'm sure they're gonna keep going, and my dream is that they'll get back with you know KK Downing, but I don't see it happening. But
Well, they're
I would,
pretty close to 60 years now, right? I mean,
yeah,
they're coming
yeah,
up on it.
yeah. But I would say uh, solid album if you're looking for non-commercial, just good hard rock, heavy metal album. Um, it's good, from beginning to end. So I think you'll like it. I wish you could play it on your station, but
Yeah. That's
it's
why we're doing this, so we can
yeah,
talk about this
absolutely,
stuff
yeah,
that's
and that was that's kind of back to what we were saying. We just I don't understand, why people just kind of shut off, with a band. It's kind of like they want to hear the same four, you know, songs, but you have
well,
to force it down their throats. So maybe, you know, I like your idea of kind of like doing a show,
streaming it up.
literally maybe on something like Sirius or anything like that, where it's a deep cut and
Well, you don't
a
even need
more,
that platform. You don't need a Sirius or a corporate, because they're just as
yeah.
corporate, and iHeart's got a ton of ownership in that, and some of the Sirius guys aren't even uh, humans. There are a lot of AI. They experimented a lot with the AI jocks there, and then now that stuff is prevalent even on the radio, in the radio
Mm,
world, where it's not even a human. So,
mhm.
but I do believe that there's opportunity when it comes to streaming some of this stuff in a station format that people
Yeah.
still appreciate, that playlist coming as a surprise, which is part of what the whole radio element is. It's like, oh, you don't
Hmm.
know what's coming next. And featuring a lot of these newer tracks from these classic artists. That's what I would love to do. We'll see. It's
Yeah.
on the to-do list. with
Yeah.
everything else. We finally
Yeah,
got to this point.
Yeah, there was a rock station in Henderson, Kentucky that kind of were formative years of my listening for rock. They used to have a show, it was one day a week, where they would play the B side of an artist that people were familiar with. They didn't know the material, but they
Right.
would play literally half an album, the B side of the album.
Oh,
And
wow.
that exposed just that. Yeah, it was just called, I think it's
So
just called B
side two.
sides. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was
not the B side of the single, not the flip side, that which would be considered a traditional B. You're saying the entire
no,
back side
an
of the album.
album that was solid and worthy. Yeah, they played the whole B
Hmm.
side of the album, and
Interesting.
that lets you kind of get exposed, truly to the deeper cuts of the albums, because the artists don't want people just to listen to one song. Man, they
Well,
pour their heart out.
there was a time that FM radio was considered album oriented rock, AOR. That was
Mm-hmm.
an actual format of radio
Mm-hmm.
in the radio world, because we would play entire albums frequently, right? You put on
Mm-hmm.
an album and just play and listen to the whole thing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how it kind of got started with, hey, we're going to expose listeners to this artist, and not just a radio single, because that was for the top 40 stations, right? So that's what they did. We in the rock radio world were playing album oriented rock. Therefore, we're going to play the whole thing, and you're going to appreciate that artist for that continuity of product that they're putting out, because albums are albums for a reason. Many records are themed, as many records
Mm-hmm.
have, they certainly have a sound that they're capturing a particular sound of the band, an era of the band, something that is
Mm-hmm.
happening musically, maybe experimentally, and oftentimes that thread is through the entire album. And that's where FM radio began. And now we're just as corporate and screwed up and limited as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
absolutely.
But
Well,
yeah,
we're gonna
I
move
miss
on,
those
brother.
days.
We're gonna cover some more acts, and
Yeah,
I'm
we
looking
got
forward to it.
new stuff from David Gilmour. We got to get to. We got new stuff
Mm-hmm.
from Eric Clapton. We're going to get to those in upcoming episodes, and then there's more stuff that's. Oh, we still haven't gotten to the new Ozzy stuff either, right? So
Yes, yeah. We were
to
talking about Patient Number 9 a couple episodes ago, and there was
that's
Jeff Beck playing guitar. So yeah, that would
a
be
lot of
awesome.
things. A lot of things we got to look at. Classic rock acts with new tracks. That's what it's about. Freak Daddy's House of Rock. Chili J, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Take care, man.